Hey everyone, how's it going? The Metroid Trainer here, and welcome back to another episode of Poketroid. So the X-Parasites were probably the most requested creature I saw, and with their unique properties, it was kinda hard to figure out how to make the X-Parasites fit with Pokemon's mechanics. Luckily, with the help of my friend and returning Poketroid collaborator ZDS, or Zodias, I feel like we were able to find the best stats, types, move pool, and abilities that best represents the X-Parasites. So I hope you enjoy, and remember to like and subscribe, and let's get started!
Throughout both Metroid Fusion and Metroid Dread, we really don't see much in the way of evolutions of the X-Parasites. The only changes we really see in them, outside of their color variants, are the creatures that they inhabit. As such, we figured it'd be best for it to be a standalone Pokemon. With it being a standalone, of course no level or stone-based evolutions would be necessary. We also thought about potential level milestones for the X, like if you were to catch them in the wild. If we're going in Metroid Fusion's case, where the X are the only threat throughout the whole game, the level they'd be encountered at would be similar to the levels of Pokemon that you'd find on Route 1. However, my personal idea was to have it similar to how it is in Dread, where the X aren't found until like the last third of the game. With this in mind, I figured that the X could be found in the wild around their early 30s to the late 50s, depending on where it might be in a hypothetical Metroid-themed Pokemon region. Having it around this level would make it a great choice for a final team member, as it wouldn't be too difficult to get it to a decent level for the Elite Four and the champion of the common regions.
When looking through the possible typing, the poison type makes sense. In the context of Metroid, the X-Parasites are parasitic pathogens, so the poison type best represents that disease aspect of the X-Parasites. The parasites definitely harm their host, so it would fit with all the other poison typing. However, I want to make the poison type the secondary type. So what's the primary type? Now, some common type suggestions I've seen for X-Parasites were like dark or psychic type, but those don't really work in my opinion. The X-Parasites are just naturally following their instincts to spread, so that's not really malicious or evil for the dark type. And it's kind of hard to argue psychic type because the changes to these hosts are genetic, not psychological. With all that being said, I want to make the normal type the primary type. I know it may sound weird because we all think of the normal type as the basic and boring Pokemon type, but the reason I choose normal type is because the normal type represents adaptability. Ditto, Porygon, Castform, and Eevee are all normal types because they all can basically work and change to adapt and fit in any environment. And we see the X-Parasites adapt to every environment they infest in-game. They thrive in extreme heats and cold environments. They survive in aquatic and dry landscapes, and can live in natural and unnatural locations. They are adaptable, so that justifies the normal typing to me. So the X-Parasites are going to be normal poison type. The normal poison type represents the infectious and deadly nature of the parasites, and how they can basically adapt in any environment. But the X-Parasites are too strange to be normal type. That doesn't make any sense. Well, yeah, but this is also Pokemon. If this shape-shifting glob of gunk can be considered a normal type, then that shape-shifting glob of gunk could be considered for the normal typing too.
With regards to its move pool, we felt that it would possess a wide variety of different types of moves. Energy-based moves such as Energy Ball, Shadow Ball, Sludge Bomb, Psychic, Signal Beam, and Tri-Attack. Defensive moves such as Acid Armor, Reflect, and Light Screen to show off its resilient nature. Life-stealing moves such as Leech Life, Giga Drain, and Parabolic Charge, since it is after all a parasite, and parasites exist by draining the energy of their hosts. Some other ideas included status moves such as Toxic or Poison Powder, Will-O-Wisp, Confuse Ray, and Thunder Wave to spread a lot of infectious diseases to the opponents in the battlefield. Again, this also aligns with it being a parasite, as parasites are known carriers of many deadly diseases. Lastly, just some other moves we threw in just for the fun of it, like Bounce, Sticky Web, and Hex to coincide with its status moves, Ice Ball for the blue variant since they're resistant to the cold, and maybe even something like Poltergeist since, like a ghost type, the X had the ability to take control of other creatures. The overall concept is that it would be a very diverse set of moves. Since being a virus/parasite, it would need to be able to adapt to many different situations and environments.
Now for the abilities, I'm excited to pitch this idea. To reflect their shape-shifting nature, as well as the fact that their copies are more combat effective, I want to make the primary type a custom ability called X-Simulate. When sent out into battle, the Pokemon will transform into the opponent, and raise its best stat by 1. Think of it as a mix of Ditto's Imposter. Damn, I tried so hard to avoid that word. Think of it as a mix of Ditto's imposter ability and Porygon's download ability. If you copy a Garchomp, your X-Parasite would transform into that Garchomp, but with a +1 in attack, to make it a better brute. If you copied a Crustle, it would gain a +1 in defense, to make it a better tank. If you copied a Ninjask, it would get a 1+ in speed, to make it a better sweeper. It's a simple way to reference how the X-infected creatures from Fusion and Dread are normally stronger than their non-infected counterpart. For the secondary ability, I want to give another new ability called X-Dapt, but don't worry, it's just a rename of the ability protein. The ability changes the Pokemon's type to match the type of the move used. We see this in Fusion with the X deliberately copying the properties of the Cold to do super effective damage against Samus due to her typing. Her DNA. The Cold X aren't natural forms of the X, so giving them this ability to change their type fits better, and it makes sense that if Samus were to be weak to different elemental weaknesses, that the X would be able to change and copy those weaknesses too. And of course, the normal type would be replaced when the ability is activated, because you don't really need adaptability when you're specifically focused on one specific type in battle. With these two abilities, we feel that this best represents the changing and adapting nature of the X-Parasites, with X-Simulate showing us how the X can outperform any opponent to copy, and X-Dapt to show us how the X can change their type to take advantage of the enemy's weakness for super effective damage. And as for a hidden ability, it's definitely not needed with how strong these two main abilities are.
When talking about the base stats of the X, we figured it'd be a bad idea to make it super strong, since the ability is what makes it viable. A simple spread of 120 base HP, 80 for attack, 50 in defense, 90 in special attack, 80 in special defense, and 60 in speed would give it a rather average rounded stat spread of a total of 480, with its highest stat being its HP, giving it some very good bulk. However, due to its gelatinous body, we figured it wouldn't have a very strong defensive stat. This stat spread will allow it to be useful even when its ability isn't active, since after all, even though it shares similarities with Ditto, I didn't want to make it exactly like it and limit it to only using one move. With the solid base stats, it can veer itself into almost any moveset speciality. Whether you want a bulky attacker, a setup sweeper, status user, or hazard setter, the X will be able to be spec'd in whatever role you want to put it in.
And now finally for the miscellaneous info. For the name, we thought Endemics would be the best choice for the X-Parasites. It's a play on the word endemic and adds the X naming motif from the actual game, so we think that's pretty cool. As for the colors, it'd be pretty cool if the red, green, yellow, and blue color variants of the X were just found randomly throughout the wild, because these are the colors we see in game. It's pretty similar to Minior with all the color variants available, but for the shiny, the purple color should be the shiny variant, because we've only seen one instance of the purple color in the games, and it's pretty obvious that this one's pretty special, so might as well make it the shiny. Of course, this Pokemon would be genderless, so there's no gender ratio. Something cool to add is that maybe we can give this a cool breeding effect, where if you use this Pokemon to breed instead of a Ditto, you'll have an increased chance of the Pokemon having a hidden ability to add a little bit of variety to the whole breeding mechanic. And even though the X can survive in literally every environment, they've always been isolated from the larger scope of the galaxy, so it'd be cool to translate that as the X only being found on an isolated island, someplace cut off from like the mainland for this hypothetical region. And you'll still have that scary lore implication of, oh, if these things got off the island, it could spread havoc throughout the region. At this point, I really gotta start thinking of a Poketroid region, to be honest. But that's a video for another day. But yeah, that's how we would portray the X-Parasites if they were Pokemon. Now I can't lie though, I went through so many ideas for what I wanted to do for the X-Parasites. I had ideas of making the X into a whole new type like the Dark or Steel type, maybe make it into a new subtype like the Shadow type, maybe make it into a new Pokerus variant, or maybe just make all the X-infected creatures just regional variants. But none of those ideas really felt right, so I want to thank ZDS for helping me with this video and giving me a second opinion and idea to help find the best way to represent the X-Parasites.
And as always, it's been a pleasure to have been part of the video. If you guys like my commentary on Pokemon, why not go check out my channel down below where I post all kinds of Pokemon stuff. I've got Metroid videos over there as well, and more coming on the way. So just go ahead and check that out if you guys are interested in seeing more from me.
And please, check out his YouTube channel as thanks for helping out in this video. And of course, if you like Metroid content, and Poketroid specifically, check out the playlist above for all the previous Poketroid entries. The playlist is growing, so I hope you check it out. With that being said, I'm the Metroid Trainer. Hope you like, favorite, subscribe, and stick around for next time, because I'll be seeing you later.